Today we're going to be looking at the Century Arms C93 Sporter. I purchased this about 2.5 months ago, and this has probably been the most difficult gun review I've made since I've been doing my gun review videos. I probably started and stopped 8 or 9 times to come up with a video, and every time I do it, I'm just not happy with it. But we're gonna do it today, and we're gonna finish it, and we're gonna look at this gun, and we're gonna talk honestly about it. Originally, when I got it, I got a magazine that came with the gun. This was the original gun magazine. It's an old beat-up military surplus, probably Malaysian, which I think the gun parts are Malaysian, and it's got a big dent in it. And these magazines run for about 80 bucks a piece. I mean, they're very expensive for this beer can aluminum here. It's not real heavy gauge, but I guess it does its job. This magazine sucks. I mean, you put more than 15 rounds in it, it will jam. I mean, I've taken it apart, I've cleaned it, I've taken the other magazines apart and looked at it. I can't figure out what the heck was going on with this magazine. I mean, it just didn't work. And from what I understand about HK magazines is once they don't work, they don't work. So I got an $80 piece of collector's whatever, I don't know. So I talked to Century Arms, and they sent me a new magazine. I mean, I complained about it and said, this is a problem. And they sent me a brand new magazine, and this thing has been absolutely flawless. I mean, they've been fantastic. It took a little going back and forth to, to get them to do it, but they sent it to me, and this one has been flawless. I mean, not a problem in the world. So if anybody has any ideas on how to fix this, or knows how to fix it, or I don't know, wants to buy it, I don't know, but I can't have a magazine that I can't rely on. That's just one of my little quirks in life. So any advice, any wheeling and dealing, let me know. So here's a magazine that needs to be refinished. I did have some contact with a company in Pennsylvania that does a lot of HK stuff, so maybe they might be interested in it. We'll talk to them. But if you have any ideas or know how to fix it or what to do, because I've taken it apart. I really don't want to take it apart here. It's got 2 springs in it. There's like a little spring here and the big long spring, and this thing just doesn't work. I've cleaned it. I've taken it apart. I've reassembled it. I thought it worked. It seems like it works. Seems like it's the same as anybody else, or the other magazines, but I don't know, maybe that spring's a little looser. I don't know, but it just doesn't work. So much for that. That was one of the big problems, the original problem with the gun. And as a matter of fact, when I saw this magazine with the gun, when I picked it up at the FFL, I'm like, oh man, that magazine sure got the hell beat out of it, and I'm like, oh geez, I don't know. So it proved to be a bad omen. So that's my magazine story with the Century Arms C93C. C93. Okay, getting back to the gun with the magazine, fantastic. I mean, I really fall in love with this gun. It's crazy. I mean, I have another Century Arms AK-63D, which I love. I will never get rid of that gun, and I will never get rid of this gun. And it has proven to be one of the most fun guns to shoot. It's a very soft shooting gun because you've got this big recoil spring. We're going to look at that in a minute. They only have them. They only have them from time to time. They probably produce 3, 4, 5, maybe 1,000 of them. Whatever. They get the parts kits in, and then they manufacture, the receiver and the barrel, and they pretty much put the gun together. This part here is also, the trigger group is also American made, and they put it together and they sell to different vendors. And they only had it in December for a couple of weeks, and I jumped on it. I just happened to have the money, and I was like, always wanted one of these guns, and this is my wheelhouse. This kind of gun, if I could find a Century Arms Galani, I'd jump on that too. I mean, that's just my wheelhouse, man. That's just what I like in guns. Give me those military-style rifles, and I'm off to the races. But this thing has been, I just get to love it. The trigger, it's not great, but it's not bad. It's about 7 pounds. A little squishy, but other than that, it's not bad. I mean, it's really not bad. Accurate, very accurate. Reliable, yes. It doesn't like some tool ammunition, 55 grain tool steel case. It has no problem with steel case ammunition jamming because of the fluted chamber. We'll go into that in a minute too. But some of the lower end 223 doesn't have enough kick to actually strip the next round into the receiver or into the barrel. It's just not enough kick there. The spring here, we'll show you that in a second too, is kind of strong. So it really likes 62 grain 223 or heavier. Some of the 55 grain like American Eagle Classic and some of the lower end ammunitions it doesn't like. The 62 grain tool, so far most of it's pretty good. So, and anything 5.56 it eats up, and better quality 223 it also eats up. It's got a good charge to it. So if you have a lighter charge, you're probably going to have some problems stripping the next round. It'll eject, but it won't be enough to kick it back to load the next round into it. So that's my only complaint about the gun. But other than that, it has been absolutely fantastic. I mean, it's fun. It is heavy. It's almost 9 pounds. You know, but it is so cool. It is just so cool. We're gonna check it out right now. And the charging handle here, this is another problem I had with it. I actually had to replace the spring in the charging handle here. And that was frustrating. But it works now, and we'll go into that in a second too. So the gun is empty, and to close the bolt you have to do that. You just slap it, which is kind of cool. And we have a bolt, a locking pin back here. We're just going to push that through. Okay. And we're going to pull that pin out. A little tight, but here it goes. And we've got a keeper in our stock here. If you can see that. We've got a keeper here, so we don't want to lose the pin. Let's put that there. And we just pull this off. And there it goes. Okay, I'm going to take the sling off. This is a Fire Force sling, which I did a previous video on, which has been absolutely fantastic for 15 bucks. I like my 2-point slings. And this is the foliage color. It also comes in olive drab, tan, and black. And this has been absolutely fantastic. It's American made, as you can tell. Very, very nice. And it's a really nice sling. I like it. I really do. Okay, so here we're going to take off the pistol action here. Kick the bolt back. Yep, there it goes. It really goes back. Okay. And we have our recoil spring here. And we have our bolt and bolt carrier. We're going to take that apart in a second. And this is kind of a pain in the ass, but we're going to take this pin out. And we're going to hold on to that. We're going to take the fore end off. It's really stuck on there. It's a really pain to get back on too. But we're going to take that apart, and we're going to keep the pin in here so we'll know where it is, because these pins tend to wander away. So that's got a steel heat shield, and I've done a lot of rapid fire shooting with this, and I've never felt any heat at all. You know, knock wood. It has been fantastic, better than any AR I've ever shot as far as heat. And it just dissipates it so much better. I don't know what they're using or how they're using it, but it works good. So that's good. And here I had to take the spring out of here. And it was quite a production. Well, it's not really that bad. There's a pinhole right there, and there's a pinhole down there, and there's a fat side and a skinny side. You just take your hole punch, and you just drive that pin out. It comes out the bottom, and there's a whole piece comes out, and then you put the spring in. I got a German spring in there, and German replacement spring, and it has been absolutely fantastic. And this goes back and forth, and that locks up, no problem. And it just goes like that, slap it in there like that. There it goes. And that's how you get the bolt out of there. And if you don't have this piece in here, as I found out, if you don't have this charging handle in here, I actually took the charging handle out and reassembled the rifle and put it back in the safe. Oh my goodness, is that a pain in the butt to get out of there. I mean, you have to really finagle it out of there, because it's really locked in there. Even with the roller's not locked, it's really locked in there. So you really have to have some kind of leverage to get it out. So, Don't ever do that. Just if you take this little part out and you take the handle, the charging handle off, just leave the bolt out of the rifle until you reassemble it. So I learned my lesson there. And it goes back like that, and it goes forward under tension from the spring. Some of the downsides. There is a lot of the parkerization wearing off. It's kind of flaking off. As you can kind of see, it's got shiny spots here and there. And that's just from, I mean, I'm not really knocking around too much with it, but it's kind of wearing off. That's one of the down things. Let's talk about the magazines. Are the most interesting thing about the rifle too. Is these are about $80 a piece. 70, 80 to 110, 150, whatever. I mean, boy, I'll tell you, if HK wanted to make some money, turn on the machine that makes these things. Man, you can make some real money real quick. It seems to me like a good idea. What do I know? Hey, but they do have these Pro Mags out there. And you want to know something? These things have worked absolutely perfectly. No problem at all. This is a 30 rounder. This is a 40 rounder. This is a 40 rounder. I wish Magpul and Tapco had magazines. I would buy some of those. But since Pro Mag is the only one who committed to this platform, I'll buy theirs. But these have been absolutely fantastic. Not a problem. No problem at all. I mean, that's just me. That works for me. Okay, now getting to the rifle itself. It's 5.56 It has a delayed roller mechanism. It was invented in 1936 in Poland by a guy named Edwin Stenke, and he had the patent on it. And when the war started in '39, the Germans overran the country, and they were working on a machine gun, and the Polish military was developing a roller action machine gun. And when the Germans overran the country, they discovered this prototype, and they ran with it, and that's where we get the MG42 with. That's more or less coming out now more than ever. The Germans don't want to admit it, but that's what happened. So that's our delayed roller mechanism. It's a little oily, so I'm going to use a cloth here to show you how to take it apart. So we simply let's see where we go. Counterclockwise. Maybe I don't need a cloth. Let's see. Just go that way. Pull it off. That's the first part. And then there's a key in here. It's still dirty. I cleaned this thing out and it's still dirty. So one thing about this gun, it actually likes to run dirty. Okay. This is our timing piece, and this will actually go inside of our rollers, and it forces the rollers to delay while the bullet is actually exiting the barrel, and then when the pressure drops significantly enough, the force itself just actually blows back the action. Here's our firing pin with spring, and so that goes in here, goes in here, and you can see in there. There you can see our firing pin. So that sits inside there, and it actually works very, very well. Some say that it doesn't work as well with the .223 bullet as it does with the .308 or the 9mm. I don't know, but I've never had any problem with it. It seems to work pretty good in my gun, so I would say it's okay. It does get dirty because actually the flutes in the chamber, I got one of my fluty cartridges here pulled off. This is when I was having problems with the other magazine. It destroyed the brass in the process too. It was a mess. But as you can see, there's flutes on this piece of brass, and that's from the fluted chamber. The dirt, or actually the explosion or the gunpowder, actually creates like a lubricant and forces it out as it's coming out of the barrel. Helps it extract it. I mean, it actually performs as a sort of a way of ensuring that the cartridge doesn't stick to the case of the wall or the wall of the breech. So it's pretty interesting stuff. I mean, it works pretty good. Can't complain. So this is our gun. It does get dirty. Start cleaning it out. Even after cleaning, it's still dirty. It's still dirty. You're going to find dirt in this thing forever. Just goes to show you how much dirt's in there. But as I said, the gun likes to run dirty. So let's take it apart further and see what we've got here. Okay, so we're taking this is our bolt carrier, and this is as far as that's going to go. And it's very heavy, and very solid, and works real well. Our timing. This is our roller lockings. Okay, see where the rollers, and it actually rolls on that, and it locks up for a fraction of a second while the gun is actually fired, and then it extracts itself, so that when the pressure is diminished enough to open safely. This is our pistol grip. Take that out like that, and there we go. Yep, there we go. Okay, this is our pistol mechanism. We'll cock that, and that also gets really dirty. Everything in this gun gets dirty. And they say don't over oil it because that can actually pose a problem by capturing more grime and dirt. But you know, I like to lubricate some things. So I'll put a little oil on that. Just in case, just to keep that. Just a touch of oil because it's a bearing surface. So that's our pistol grip. I'm sorry, our trigger mechanism. That's it. Seems to work really good. Clean that out. As I said, I did have to replace the spring, which was about $5. That's a good German-made HK spring from Germany, and that has been absolutely fantastic. It's kind of a pain in the ass to remove because you have to kind of push it in and get underneath this little, it has to fit in here and fit in there, and it's a straight spring, and you have to twist it and turn it and bend it. But you know, you can't use a tool, you have to kind of use your fingers. And you know, if you did that probably 10 hours a day, you'd be really good at it. If you've done it once in your life, it's a problem. But yeah, it seems to be working pretty good, so I'm very happy with that. Alright, so this is how we take it apart. These are all the pieces. Our recoil spring. This is our safety lever. This is all metal. Metal, plastic, metal. And there is no gas system. This is just simply for the charging tube. This is the barrel here. And it's a 1 in 9 twist, and it is 223556, so there's no problem there. As I said, the biggest thing I don't like about the rifle is the finish is flaking off. You can kind of see it's flaking off everywhere, actually. This is like really just, you know, how do I put it? This is like safe rash. I mean, it's just, gosh, you know, it's just flaking off. So if they put a little better finish on it, it'd be a much better rifle. It's just me, Century Arms. You guys are great. Keep doing what you're doing. And bring back the Galani. I'd love to get one. Okay, so let's put it back together. All right, let's put the trigger mechanism in here. Just put it in there. Drop it down. Make sure that we got it. Oops. There we go. Safety back. Come on. We can do it. There we go. Okay, the safety's in. We're good there. Okay, let's put our bolt back together. So here's our firing pin spring. Just put it all the way back. Put this in here. Okay. And there's a key that goes into the lock like that. Now, this is the hard part. It's not hard at all if you know what you're doing. And just put it in like that. Okay, so you want to make sure that that key goes in that opening lock like that. Push it all the way back down and twist it. You gotta keep your finger off the firing pin or it won't go on again. And just twist it. Okay. Now, here's the hard part. Go like that, at that angle like that. Okay, we're going to put this upside down like that. Okay, I'm going to go over to this side of our hand, because this is my stronger hand is actually my right hand, so we're going to go like that. Push it in. And lock it in. And twist it. I hope I didn't lock the lockers. Okay, and pull. Oh, that didn't work. So put that in like that. twist it, just kind of push it in. There we go, kind of like that. Push the lockers in upside down, like that. Did it wrong. That's what's going on. It's been about a week since I've cleaned it. So I go like that. Okay. Go like that. Alright, put that in upside down. I'll twist it over to my other hand. And the secret is to pull it out as you're twisting it. And there you go. A little more leverage on it. And that's it. That's the whole secret. Just pull it out when you're twisting it. And that should be all set. Okay. Put our recoil spring in. Fit right in here like that. As you can see, the rollers are everything's fine. Push it all the way in. Okay. Put our trigger grip on. It's all in. Nothing to it. Put our buttstock on. It's right in here. All the way back. Take our pin. Like that. And, okay, now this is the hard part. Actually, this is for me the hard part. I know in your rifle it might be different, but for me, it's kind of a pain. Okay, so we put the handguard on. There we go. Okay, go all the way back. All the way back. Make sure that that hole's lined up. It's looking kind of good. So get that pin in there. This is a pain in the butt. Just an absolute pain. I know it's right, so. There we go. Okay. And there we have it. We're all reassembled. Charge the candle. Locked in. And we're all set. Put our sling back. Our sling back. I'm knocking everything over on the table. And there we have it. We're back in business. I mean, this has been probably one of the most funnest guns to shoot. I just absolutely love it. Just can't get enough of it. As I said, it doesn't like the cheaper 223. Go to a little better round, a little heavier grain. I've fired 75 grain toll through it and 62 grain toll through it. I've had a couple of bad 62 grain toll rounds. It just didn't have, you could actually feel it when you're shooting it. It just didn't have much charge as the other rounds did. The 75 grain, no problem at all. No problem at all. I fired American Eagle Classic, I believe it is, which is kind of their low-end brass 223. That also was not very good ammunition too. I must confess that seemed a little lighter charge too. But any 5.56 I put through it, it eats it up. Just this gun was just made for it. This is a military gun. It was designed for a military round, and it likes a little hotter load. So I mean, it's just what it is. Any 5.56 you put through it, it's just going to eat it up. And it's accurate, reliable. The only problem I had, I said, was with the magazine, and that was the one they sent me, and it was no good. So again, if you have any ideas on how to fix it, or if you can fix it, or you want to buy it, or whatever, let me know, because I'd like to do something with an $80 magazine that's no good. So thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe.